Hey man, we here
Welcome back.
with your boy,
Yes.
all the way from North Carolina.
All the way from North
Representing.
Kakalaki.
This is Corey Barrier. How was the drive, bro?
Drive was good because, I was anticipating having to drive all the way into Atlanta.
Oh,
and,
that's
you
right.
know, by getting closer, coming to your house was,
Yeah.
I was happy as hell when I realized I did not have to come all the way into Atlanta. So
Yeah.
the drive was actually really good.
Yeah.
Really
What'd you do on the drive here, man? Some good audio books.
Yep, I listened to. So I was telling Tony earlier. I was listening to Ed Milet's.
Yeah.
He's got two speeches that I like to listen to, and the reason I like to listen to them is because I want to be able to speak like him, because I think he's a great fucking speaker. So I listened to both of those, and then I listened to some stuff about gut health and what was the other thing? Something about your brain.
Mind
Yeah,
something.
it was health
Yeah.
theory or something with Tom Bilyeu. It was cool. It was cool. I love listening to shit like that.
So you don't really listen to music.
No, I didn't.
Good for you.
I listened to Nelly for about 30 minutes.
Nelly, 8-time boy.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to, since this is sex, drug, and sports,
We're gonna focus on drugs today.
we're going to focus on drugs today?
Yeah, I think
All right,
so.
so
Yeah.
Corey, you got a story. I've heard quite a bit of it. We did a podcast together, and really cool. And and I kind of met Corey, like, I ain't gonna say by mistake, because nothing happened by mistake, but it was like I met him. Then the next day, the same day, he said, I got a podcast. Will you do it? And I'm like, of course. You
Yeah,
know.
of course.
So, and then that's how we met for, like, chilling, eating wings and whatnot.
This is recent?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Right before the Super Bowl.
Oh, this year.
So, I'm a homebody.
Yeah.
So I don't really go places, but my boy was in town from San Francisco,
Right.
and he wanted to watch the game. So we met at Twin Peaks. I'm downstairs, and I got there a little late. And then a mutual friend of ours walks up to me and says, "Hey, T, what you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I got a table upstairs. You want to come up?" And I'm like, "Of course."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Did you know I was here?" I didn't know
Just
what the hell
playing?
was going
What's
on.
going on?
So I go upstairs, and he's there with his wife, and we sit there and we just like enjoy each other's company. We didn't like say much because we were watching the game.
Yeah.
And then I brought some chocolate bars and some coffee, and I shared it with him. And then they were leaving. He came back and said, I don't know why I didn't ask, but I got a podcast, and I'd like you to be on it. So that's how that's how it started. We got on the podcast, and I didn't know his story. I told him mine, and I heard some cool stuff. So you ready to share?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
Cool
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Cool.
it.
So, he doesn't even know anything. I'm not really going to ask questions. You can kind of take the floor and say how we may or may not interject, but
Sure.
because I might have a question off of a particular subject or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he told me you got a strong story, and I'm always intrigued when that's going on.
Yeah. So, well, I'll just.
And you could give us the short version. You don't have to give us like the details, kind of like,
Cliff notes.
Yeah,
Cliff notes.
for
right?
sure.
like the time, the error, so we
Yeah.
can understand where your head was at.
Sure,
stuff like that.
So, I was, I actually started, I'm just going to start my drinking career.
Go ahead.
Right?
Oh, your drinking career.
My drinking
Alrighty.
career
Gotta hear that.
There you
started around, I would say around 17 is when I really started drinking.
Right.
And when I say really started drinking, I would get up and do a paper route, I think I mentioned.
Yeah.
But I would get up and I would drink
In
on
the
the
morning?
paper. Yeah, before school.
Right. It's gonna be good.
Right. So,
Come on here, like,
and-
wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What
go ahead.
school?
it's, right, high school.
Okay.
High school.
The
So,
drunken paper boy.
yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
I only hit one car,
Well, that's
but
good.
nobody knew about it.
Was the people's paper on the porch, or was it in the bushes and shit?
I did have some on the house, that's for sure.
All right, cool. That damn paper boy.
Yeah, drunk
ahead.
again. So moving forward through high school, I actually started when I graduated high school to work for my dad, and when I went to work for him in the tobacco industry. Well, the tobacco industry, at 5 o'clock every day, people drink. Period. I mean, it's just a ritual.
At 5 in the afternoon, though.
5 in the afternoon.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So I
thinking.
fast forwarded just a little bit.
It's all good.
And so I was in training for this company, right, a tobacco company, to be a buyer for tobacco, which is like auction, like hands and shit. So anyway, I was also kind of like the gopher anyway. So I got to hang out with all the bigger, more important people, so to speak. And that's what we did every day at 5 o'clock was drink. And so that's when it started to be an issue, right? Because at that point, I had come home for the summer. Because guess what? In tobacco, you work 6 months out of the year. The other 6 months, you don't do shit.
Okay.
So, so I had come home and I'd come off the golf course and I should have got a DUI. My car, I had just bought a brand new Grand Cherokee and something was off with the gas, the gas meter, whatever you call it, gauge.
The gauge,
And so it just died. And I'm like, what the fuck? I use a brand new car. Anyway, so fortunately I did not get a DUI, but so I came home that summer and then I decided not to go back to work for that company because I wanted to go to school. And so I moved to Charlotte and went to school and literally swear to God, first day I was there, I got alcohol poison because I drank a half a box of Franzia wine.
Wow.
It was so much fun, though. It was so much fun.
It always
You got
starts off
poisoning
fun
from
until
box wine?
you start throwing up in the trash.
It's
can.
gotta be a.
Oh, it was terrible.
I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
It's all fun and games till you
Until
start
drink a
vomiting.
box,
Yeah.
box of wine.
About 3 days I was sick. Oh, it was terrible.
I bet.
And so, all right. So that was my first experience being at college, and then I got my first DUI, and this is the crazy part. I got my first DUI, and 30 days later, I got my second DUI. But this is the kicker: the cop that gave me the first DUI gave me the second DUI, and on that Friday, which was on the 30th day, I was supposed to be in court, and I didn't know. Or I did know, but I thought my attorney was going, and my attorney didn't go. So the cop opened the door. I mean, Charlotte, so it's a big city. So, he opens the door, and he knows exactly who I am because I'm his court.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
to
you're
work.
getting pulled
He had
on
to
the
work.
second one.
Yeah,
So
basically.
you're supposed to be in court, and you're actually getting another DUI.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Double.
kind of another way.
Yeah.
And that's on a Friday.
On a Friday.
So you ain't even seeing the judge till Monday.
They're coming right now.
Right.
I hear them.
That's exactly right. You're right. It must be what I
I think
mean.
the guy's coming right now. I heard him.
Oh, so, and Charlotte's when I started my drugs. So in the whole,
And how old were you then?
I guess
You
I was,
like-
I guess I was 21.
out of college?
I was just 20. I had just turned 21.
Okay. That's usually when it starts.
Yeah. So, I'd started doing ecstasy and done a little bit of coke and whatever. And
I'm gonna go out on a limb and take a guess
Yeah.
that you have an addictive personality.
yes.
So like that used to be like a topic, like addictive
Yeah.
personality, not addictive personality. I'm more like an appetite person
Yeah.
than addictive personality. Like in other words, I only like certain things. Some people can get addicted to
Anything.
water.
Right. I
know what
mean,
I'm saying?
I knew you were going to say
Yeah.
Or
So-
working out.
Or working out. Right.
You can
Exactly.
literally get attached
Exactly.
to like.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So in that scenario, there's an extra level of mental strength that you have to have in order to stay sober like you're doing.
Yes.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And although we like to talk about the fun part of everything,
Yeah. See, like,
to
I
have
to talk about
somebody.
Yeah.
being addicted to like sex. Like that's.
Yeah.
But that's next.
That's
Okay.
next. Okay.
And
well,
I actually had that issue for my whole life. So
Yeah.
so
That's
but-
a real thing, man.
Oh,
yeah, so-
absolutely.
I'm still battling those demons.
yeah.
yeah.
But
So,
not really. I kind of welcome it.
So basically, Corey had a tough time about it, but he
Yeah.
made it. The cool part is he
Well,
made
he's
it
here
through on
now,
the
so
other
obviously
side.
he came through.
Well, yeah.
And
So
our whole thing is, like I say, me and Pod and I, we go way back, and we like to basically we reminisce a lot, but we kind of think alike a little bit too, differently and alike on a lot of subjects.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, a lot of people don't get to see both sides. You know what I'm saying? So when
Yes.
you're in the clubbing mode,
Oh, yeah.
all you know is the club.
Love is
So if people tell you, you shouldn't be going to the club, you'd be like, man, get out of here.
Yeah,
We balling.
you should be
Right.
going to the club with
Right.
me. Like-
And then when you get past that stage, and then you look back like, man, I can't believe they go to the club like that every week. When you know
Yeah.
you did that,
Yeah,
I know
like,
I did that.
yeah, I
You
did
know
that
what I'm
to
saying?
death, man.
So we like to, this whole sex, drugs, and sports is like, giving the world both sides. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Because
for
a lot
sure.
of times people like to sugarcoat stuff and only tell you the
we-
social media goody two shoe
Right,
side.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
And we don't want to dwell on the bad side either. But like I say, most people they have a hard time dealing with the recovery part
Yes.
and the staying sober part. And so that's why I invited you on, so you can give us a little insight and
Yeah.
maybe give some
So, fast forward, through, various different legal issues. I did, 2005 is when shit really got real for me, because I got caught with 4 ounces of cocaine.
Oh, wow.
And, that was a bad day. And, I won't go into the details of the
No, you
day.
don't have to.
But essentially what happened, God at that point had showed me grace. At least that's how I have to look at it, because I got an opportunity to go into a rehab center for 6 months or go to prison.
about to say a couple grams more, you would
Yeah.
have had them options.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I really should have been in prison. But I'll be honest with you, if I'd have been black, I probably would have been in prison.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna be honest.
Well, you can keep it real here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling
the
you.
realest table on
Yeah,
planet
I mean,
Earth,
I'm
bro.
just
You
being
can
honest.
definitely keep it
I just think I got a pass,
Yeah.
and so I didn't straighten up completely after that, but I didn't touch any more cocaine. I can tell you that.
Oh, that's right.
So I went to a 6-month program, and when it was a Pentecostal holiness, so it's intense
Oh,
shit.
trust
When
me.
you, especially when you're
I was
not
raised
used
Pentecostal.
Oh, were you?
Okay.
We used to get whoopings before
In
church.
church?
No,
Oh.
before church,
get you
because
ready
she
for church?
because she knew we was gonna be bad at church. There was no chance that we weren't. So we got our
It's a
spanking
preemptive ass
before
whooping.
we went.
It's a preemptive ass whooping to church.
Then you get another one if you do if you're
Right.
if you actually really be
Then you
bad.
get the real one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's intense.
Pentecostal aunties don't play.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I get it. I know exactly
Yeah,
what
it
you're
was
saying.
super intense. And plus, I couldn't leave the property.
Right.
So anyway, fast forward. Well, the belief of this place where I was at is I couldn't leave there with a woman unless I was married.
Oh yeah.
Well, so I was kind of forced to get married, because I was definitely leaving that fucking place.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Right.
And
What your
so-
name is, girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You single? Not anymore. Come over here and put this ring
How many
on.
teeth you got?
so I got
Did
married.
you say how
How
many
many
teeth?
teeth you
Yeah,
got?
how many teeth you
You got
got?
all your
As
teeth?
long as you got 7,
You got
good.
the front ones? That's all I need.
Oh, so that was a nightmare. But I didn't have a driver's license, and she had all my shit because when I got locked up,
Yeah, well, at least she had
all my
she
shit.
had all your shit,
Yeah.
not half your shit, all
right,
your shit.
all my shit. So it was kind of I didn't have much. I mean, of course, I had a choice, but that was the choice that I made. As soon as I got my license back, I took off. Anyway, we'll fast forward a little bit. I got sober in 2009.
Okay.
And when I say I got sober, like I stopped drinking, it was the 3rd time that I tried, which was, it wasn't necessarily, it was a life changer, but you would think that the mindset stuff would have come in by this point, but it didn't. It didn't. It took until,
Were you 30 something yet?
yes.
Oh, not, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I'm 41, so I've been sober a little over 10 years. So yeah, I was a little over 30. Yeah.
Right. That's usually when it kicks in. That's when the sense starts to kick in.
Yeah.
When the youth starts to wear off,
Wait a minute, what am I doing here?
the sense
What am I
starts to
doing
kick
with my
in.
life here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So, sorry, I got off track.
2009, you got off.
2009, I got sober, but really, when my life really started to change was in July of 2018, and my wife handed me a book that said, "Okay, fine, I'm grateful," on the front of the book. And the reason she handed me that book is because I was running a hormone clinic, so I was in business. I'd been in business for myself for years, but I was just not. I was the most ungrateful human being. I didn't even realize how negative and just how shitty kind of I looked at things until
Your
she gave me
perspective.
that.
Yeah.
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 And so I started journaling, and one of the things that came out of that journaling and listening to Tony Robbins was really the primary person. I mean, I'm talking about 3 hours a day. I was jamming this stuff in my brain because it was making sense, right? And so I was, I learned that you write your stuff out as if it's already done. And so that's how I journal. And so what happened was October 1st of 2018, after I had this transformation had happened, my partner in business came in and said, I'm not going to pay you anymore. And I built the fucking clinic. Like, I ran it, I built it, I did everything. And so I didn't really understand.
Wait, so was this guy your partner?
He was my business partner. Right. 50-50 business partner.
So he's just, well, how can he not pay you if you're 50-50?
Well, because he controlled all the money.
Oh, okay. You ran everything and he just
That's right.
cashed in.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say he cashed in. I wouldn't say he cashed in at all. Actually, he's probably in debt for God knows how much
Good.
money. Yeah.
Fuck him.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'll
say
it, man.
The worst day of my
People like that.
Yeah, the worst day of my life, or what I thought was, became the best day.
Yeah, that's usually how it is.
It is.
Yeah,
It
freedom.
is. It is.
Remember.
Direction.
Remember last week you asked me how I feel?
Oh, yeah.
I said free.
Free.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. There's nothing, you look happier.
That's the ultimate.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate.
Without a doubt. So that day, I would love to tell you that I kept all my shit together, but I didn't. I lost it. I threw shit.
Sounds like a time to go drinking to me or whatever.
Yeah, but
I'm glad you did.
But that wasn't even an option for me.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is that somebody in a business situation, because I've been in several business situations where we went our own ways, and they weren't as polite enough to come and say, I'm not paying you anymore, or we're going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was,
Backstab you.
just do something dirty and then disconnect.
Disappear.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Ghost.
well, you got to go try to hunt people down or whatever.
Right.
At least I ain't saying he was a man, but I don't even know the details, nor do I need to know the details. But the point is, that was a life-changing experiment.
It was.
what's
It became a
important.
blessing.
It did.
And it brings you to, so now we're in 2019.
Yeah, but there's an important part that I need to tell you. So that day was important because that was the day that I had planned to buy my ticket to go see Tony Robbins.
Oh, good. You were
And
good.
so, but he didn't pay me.
Oh.
So I lost my shit for two reasons. One, he told me he was, basically he wouldn't pay me for my job, and then now I can't do what I knew I was supposed to do.
Right.
And so my wife, and I guess I've told the story for enough times now that maybe I won't get emotional today, but my wife made a deal with the Robbins Research Foundation and bought me a really good ticket to the thing. And so she'd call, it was unbelievable.
That's amazing.
It was the nicest thing anybody's ever done. And so I was at work that day, and she called, because I stuck it out for another 2 weeks to make sure he was really not going to pay me. And plus, it was half my business. So anyway, she had called and said, hey, I need you to go sit down in front of your computer. And I was edgy because I was, going through whatever. And I opened the computer, and she said, oh, check your email. And when I checked my email and saw that she had done this with the Robbins Research, it was, like I said, it was literally probably the nicest thing anybody's
It's that thing
ever
you
done.
needed.
It was what I needed.
Yeah.
It
It was the key.
It
It
was
was the key.
Yeah. Yeah. So, pressing forward, I went to his thing. It was fantastic. It was life changing. I walked on fire.
Did you?
Yes.
Walk on the
I
coals?
walked on coals.
Yeah.
Yep. Walked on the coals. And since then, I've went back to. Well, let me include one more thing. Then that Thanksgiving was what I was talking about before we started. We cooked dinner for a family, and then we anonymously took it and put it on their doorstep and just rang the doorbell and drove off. And I tell you that specifically because I don't say that to impress you, but to impress on you how important it is to do something for somebody else with no intent or with no
expectations.
No
and get nothing back.
expectations.
Yeah.
Because when you have expectations, most of the time you're going to get let down. I mean,
Always.
maybe not, maybe,
Usually
but
always.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it just it made me a different person, and because I had never done anything like that, and so anyway.
Random act of kindness usually,
I mean, that's
hold a
really-
lot of weight.
That's what life should be about.
holds
is
a lot
giving
of weight.
back.
It should be.
Tony and I talk about this all the time. This is like one of the things we agree on, like a lot. One of the top ones, because when you do stuff for somebody else, especially when you give back something that somebody else gave it to you, right?
Right.
And then now you're passing it on to somebody else.
That's right.
You know, that's the reward in itself. Like, why would you expect to get anything back? You know, you just don't. You
Right.
just naturally don't. Like I do stuff like that for somebody else. I don't even. It's not even a thought for me to be like, okay, what am I getting back from this person?
Right.
Well, how many times have you given something? It's like, so in other words, you're possessing something or whatever, and you pass it on to someone else. So now your hands are free, and then you end up getting something else.
It's
You know what
right.
I'm saying? Like it's like a cool thing, and that's what I was talking to you earlier about. Living the law of receiving.
That's so true.
I went from being a go-getter to a go-giver, and it's now abundance is everywhere.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was always never enough.
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the way that one thing I'll just say this. One thing that bugs the shit out of me is when somebody doesn't put their shopping cart up. And so I'll go out of my way to make sure that I put it up.
Right.
Just because it's just laziness. It's just lazy. It drives me insane.
Lack of consideration. I mean, hey, whatever. Everybody has those days.
They do, but
I've never done that. Have you ever done that?
No.
Yeah.
It's not really an option. Like now, some places, like I went to Publix, a new Publix the other day, and I couldn't find the spot. But it was the last parking space, the first
Oh, yeah,
parking
so like
space.
a
was
little
like a little
sidewalk.
I was like, oh, there it
Yeah,
is. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
I've seen those, yeah.
So I sometimes I'll say, well, maybe the person didn't see that, but a lot of times it's their intent. Their intent is, I got my groceries, I got my stuff, I'm out.
Somebody else can take it.
Right. It's somebody else's job. Somebody's getting paid to do this. So let me just
They're just not here right now.
They'll be here later. That's all right. I'm just leaving it for them.
So, it's, I've had it's unreal after having these experiences, how my life has changed in a way that it's like you said, the law of giving. If I go into something with the right mindset and the right intent, I don't have to worry about the outcome.
Right. Well, you have that's the true seed mentality. I mean, when farmers plant corn, right, they don't expect a certain amount of corn. They just expect corn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so this
Any
year was a
corn.
bumper crop. Last year didn't do so well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they have projections, predictions, or whatever. But the whole point is they plant, and the harvest is to be determined later.
That's
You know,
right.
People are
too many
trying
factors.
to harvest without planting, and that's the problem. It doesn't, the cycle of life doesn't really work like that.
No.
And so when you try to implement that into your real everyday life, you bump heads with people. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's really crazy? So people will like plant a seed and then go dig it up the next day thinking it's already grown. Like, you
Or
gotta give
expecting it anyway.
you know what I mean? Like, you gotta water that thing,
Right.
man. You gotta, feed it some tequila. You know, like, that's my seed.
Right, right.
Put
Not
some
necessarily
tequila.
mine.
Could see it,
You know what I
tequila
mean?
seeds.
Hey, my crop's different. I'm just saying.
That's right. Just
You know, you gotta give it some time. Let the sun hit it. Let
Well,
it grow.
it's seed time harvest.
Yeah.
Not time harvest seed, not harvest seed, hard time seed.
Yeah.
Seed time harvest.
Yeah.
You can't
can't rush it.
It's not interchangeable.
Right.
And so as soon as you realize that, and if you end up living your life like that, I have embraced it. And man, it's just a beautiful thing. Like I was telling you that story earlier about last January, I planted a seed. Well, the harvest is coming this week, and I had, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't even plant the seed expecting a harvest. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
The seed that I planted was literally to help this dude.
Right,
I was
right.
inspired to help this dude. Didn't know what I was helping him for. Now he's helping me.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
That's the
So,
payback.
Yeah.
That's
for sure.
So when you got married,
Which time?
how many times have you been married? Let's start there. Let's start. How many?
The
You've been married
popular
3
one.
times.
Yeah,
The
the
one
po-
you married to.
Okay,
Yeah.
so your wife now.
Yes.
Okay, so how long have you been married to her?
We will be married 5 years in March.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So she's the one that got you the ticket to the Tony Robbins event. She's the one that's got your back through all this other stuff.
I got my back, dude.
So you had an angel.
Yeah.
So you went through.
Hell to get his angel.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I could not ask for a better companion. Like I couldn't ask for a better wife. I mean, she trusts everything that I do. She trusts in me. She believes in me. Yeah. And you know, sometimes it just takes somebody to believe in you.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And so if something in that belief, even, and we talked about this, you know, even if you borrow somebody else's belief, sometimes maybe that's all you need.
That's it.
But when you have somebody that really like genuinely believes in you, man, that's a powerful thing.
Right. Well, you have to understand that you gave them that belief. They're not wishing that you whatever.
Yeah.
So they see whatever that is they believe. The reason why they believe in you is because of something you did, not because of something they did. Yeah. And that's why we don't understand.
They saw something.
They saw something that we can't really see. And remember I told you earlier today about looking in the mirror. When you start looking in the mirror at yourself, you miss all the other shit that's going on around you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
With people that are on the outside looking at you, they can see that stuff. They know your weaknesses because they can see them in a way that you can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
that's somebody like your wife, somebody like my wife. My wife texted me yesterday and asked me, said, what do you think my purpose is? Right. So I had two answers.
Wait, were you in the car when you see these?
No, I wasn't in the
Like,
car.
were you driving and just randomly, like...
It was a trip because I know she's going through some things. We talked about her breast cancer thing. So I know she has her days where she feels like, woe is me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I get it. So she said, what do you think your purpose is? And the crazy thing about that is, I could tell that that's what she was needing. This is earlier in the day because my son had called me and she was going through some stuff. So when she texted me that, I was like, okay, I know she's fishing. Right? So I know she's fishing.
That's a text.
So I'm not gonna say her in general purpose in life. Right. Number one, her true purpose of her sense of purpose, I don't know what that is.
Right.
That's on the inside. But her purpose in life as a human is to be happy, live an abundant life, love, share, and all that. Right. But her purpose to me, with me, is to be my anchor, to be my support system. Yeah. Because I know that God has a job and a task for me that I just really embraced, a couple years ago. Yeah. And he knew that I needed to make it through all the stuff that I went through and come out on the other side. So he sent me her. And I used to call her the governor, right? And so everybody thinks when I say the governor, like a politician.
Right.
I still call her the governor.
I was going to say.
No, I do. I still do. But you know that. Yeah. I call her the governor. And the governor is like that thing on the carburetor that keeps you from blowing your engine, in your engine.
Yeah.
Because I'm a thoroughbred. I'm a freaking Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
she would always kept me grounded. I remember winning shows, right? Bringing home, $50,000 check, $100,000 check. And she's like, oh, you won your little championship.
Good for you.
Now walk the dogs and take out the trash. You know what I'm saying? Like I die. I'm just like, whoa, that's my woman.
Yeah.
So that's the type of relationship that
Well,
I
she's
wish
a strong
for everyone.
woman, though, man.
I wish for everyone because that person, and to me, what cracks me up is when we met, I'm like, 6'2", 275, and she's 5'3", 105. You know what I'm saying? And the first thing she said to me when we first met was, who you think you are, Full Force? You know what I'm saying? She didn't say, hey, my name is Kelly, or no. She was like, who do you think you are?
See her saying
I would
that.
like you to
Straight up.
explain to me what all this is.
Yeah. Why would you
know
do
what I'm
that to
saying?
yourself?
Yeah, that's how I met
Why
her.
is your shirt
bro.
so
I've
tight?
been like with her. We've been together since that moment.
But wait, what did you say?
Oh,
Wait,
so
this is
before I
Steve
actually met
Report.
her in person, I saw her from like 100 yards away, right? I pulled in
got
the
good
parking
fucking
space.
vision,
I said, I
dog.
said, damn, I'll marry that bitch right there. Now, there was no one in the car. No one heard me. Parked my car, went in the club. I didn't think nothing of it.
Right.
I just said it because of what I saw.
You acknowledge.
And then she came up to me and said, who you think you are, Full Force? And we've been together for 29 years.
Dang, that's incredible.
Like literally, that's how it went down.
That's it.
So
That's
That's
special.
crazy.
So you've been married that long. So she's amazing.
Yeah, she is. And how we met was actually I was training at the gym. I was a personal trainer. I was actually working for somebody, and I asked her to train with me, and she said no. And right, and I was like smack in the face. I was like, what the fuck?
I'm giving you free training now.
right.
Right. So then she said, well, I've got, she was actually, she was getting her boobs done. She was like, that's what and so that was her excuse. And come to find out, but then she started training with somebody else. And I'm like, what the fuck?
You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Time out.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
exactly.
I can understand rejection.
Yeah.
but
Right.
damn.
But damn.
Can you do it at a different gym at least?
Right.
Jesus.
So, but she said, Corey, if I would have said yes to you, you and I would have probably slept together, and then that would have been it.
Yeah.
She said, I wanted more, and I knew I wanted more from you. You didn't know it. I know, right?
Wow.
Isn't that
That's
some
crazy.
shit?
Back to my story about meeting my woman. That first night we met, I was like, you go home. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You go home. I like you. You go home.
You don't stay here.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
And so when I broke off my last marriage, the second one, oddly enough, unplanned, her and I, my wife Autumn, got separated from our other spouses on the same exact day.
Okay, so she was married previously.
Yes.
Okay.
Grand
And
opening,
so-
grand closing.
Right.
Hey.
And
One
so
door closed, one door open.
exactly. And so I saw her, and I'd asked her. I said, "Hey, let me try your drink?" I had zero interest in trying her drink, but I wanted her to come over there, so I had some opportunity to engage with her, and so so we just started talking, and it was just like it was just meant to be.
Yeah.
It was just meant to be, and every day is not paradise, but damn, I mean, I got a great fucking wife.
Yeah.
Like,
Your helpmeet. You found that person that, like they say, you complete me.
yeah,
So this subject is always really interesting to me because everybody's got a different kind of,
sure.
different kind of vision on marriage. So the first two marriages, were you the one? Was it mutual, or were you like, this is just not gonna go where it's supposed to go, or like?
The first one he got bamboozled.
Yeah, the first
Well,
one.
that's a bad timing
Yeah,
too.
but terrible.
It was a bad time in your life.
Yeah, it was
He got
terrible.
bamboozled.
The church
on
was
that
like,
first one.
marry her
Or-
and
or-
her
or-
2 teeth, and then you can leave the house. Okay, so that was the first. Well, the second one was
She wound up just being. Honestly, I think she probably struggles with alcohol.
really.
And I was,
That's
5
not
years
the kind of
sober,
person
so
you
I'm
wanna be
like,
with,
I can't.
right.
You come home at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
yeah.
So
I'm
that-
like,
that kind of
no, hell
situation.
no. I'm like, I go to bed at like 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Right.
So that ended. That
Right.
ended
That ended
real
itself.
quick.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So that's what happened with those two marriages. They were kind of my trial run.
Right. I'm trying. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've only been married once, right?
been married twice.
Have you been married twice?
Okay.
Yeah. So my first wife, Nico's mom.
Were you in Vegas?
No,
Drive-thru?
we had a real
Drive-thru
wedding.
No. Okay.
No, me and Kelly went. Me and Kelly went to
Yeah.
to the what do you call it? The little what do you call that?
Whitechapel.
The
or
little
White
wedding
House.
chapel?
Yeah, the wedding
Yeah.
chapel. Me and Kelly, that's what we did it.
Oh, did you?
Literally, I was playing roulette. This is after the 08 Olympia. I'm playing roulette. We got like 6 hours before our flight to go home. We catching the red eye, right? So it's Sunday afternoon. Football games is, the 1 o'clock because we're in Vegas.
Yeah.
So our 1 o'clock game is
Yeah,
already
it's
over.
over.
Yeah.
I'm playing roulette. Roulette.
Yeah.
And she was like, "What time's our flight, baby?" I said like 11:30. She said, "Oh, we still got about 5 hours to go get married." I was like, "You know what? You're right. Cash me in." And we went and got married.
That's how it happened. Damn.
I mean, I still had my little jawbone in my ear.
Oh, did you?
I had on a tank top and my sweatsuit. I'm still had Protan on
Oh man.
from the show, from
Yeah.
Olympia.
Yeah.
Still has your posing music with you. in
Because
your
I
back
told her
pocket?
when we first got married, I saw that look in her eye when we first got together.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not getting married again. You know what I'm saying? I don't
Yes.
want to do that.
Yeah.
Because I come from a Christian upbringing,
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
I didn't even want to get divorced the first time.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And so I said, if you don't mind being my girlfriend or whatever,
Yeah.
and I got issues
Yeah.
and
I-
baggage, I
And
said, when I'm ready.
What a proposition
I said,
that was.
no,
right?
I had to be honest with her.
Sign
I
me
had to be honest with her because I really did like her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I could have put her on in the rotation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I didn't. I
Right.
liked her a lot, and I basically one by one started
Just cut 'em all off.
Yeah, and that was it.
So you were married. How old were you when you got married the first time?
21.
Okay, so you were really young.
Yeah.
you
So
were-
how I met Nico's mom?
think
I'm
anybody-
in high school, right?
Right.
And I'm leaving out of the main school to go into the math wing. She's coming out of the math wing, going into the main school. Like it was like in slow motion, in between classes. Now there was no one else. Now our classes like hundreds
Yeah,
of
yeah.
kids going through. There was zero. There was a walkway, a L walkway.
So all the class got held.
So it was like,
was just
I literally,
the two
we
of you.
walking. I walk out the door. I hit the door, and she's like coming, about to turn in the door, and I saw her, and it was like literally slow motion. I'm not exaggerating, y'all. It was like slow motion. I saw her eyes. I was like, she has green hazel eyes. And I'm like, look at her hair. Oh my God, look at her. It was like she was glowing, and she was like walking in slow motion.
Oh my God.
Man.
So I was like, who is that? So I followed her all the way in. Almost was late to class.
Became a stalker. Okay.
Right.
And then I became her friend, right? Because she said she had a boyfriend and all that. And so I was like, okay, cool.
I'll
So
wait.
I used to eat lunch with like 3 chicks, her and her 2 buddies. So I got real tight with the buddies.
Yeah, of course.
And I was real tight with her.
Of course.
And so that's how we developed our relationship.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
And then after we went our separate ways, I kind of like, I didn't forget about her, but I used to write her poems all the time. And then she invited me to her graduation. So I saw her in the mall, slow motion again. I hadn't seen her since high school.
Wow.
Slow motion again. We got together that night, and that was it. That was my woman.
That's crazy.
And then, we had Nico.
Yeah.
And I, how they say people come into your life for a reason, a lesson, or a blessing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get all 3. You know what I'm saying?
A reason, a lesson, a blessing.
Yeah.
They take half your shit sometimes.
That's right.
Well, honestly, me and my first wife are still really tight. I mean,
Right.
her and Kelly, we're still cool because we were just high school
Yeah,
sweethearts.
it was
So,
young. It was
you know,
young.
we
Yeah.
both agreed that we were just too young
Yeah,
to
yeah,
try to do this.
yeah.
I had no experience with women, hardly at all.
Right.
So, it was just one of the things. But the reason,
Oh,
the
that's
purpose,
right.
I have my 30-year-old. You know what I'm saying?
It's your son.
And I get it now.
Yeah.
Because I tell him all the time, he has a kid now.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling him how pure me and his mom were. Never drank or smoked or nothing like that. And we were in love. So I'm like, dude, you are like a product of real love. You know what I'm saying?
Like the real
if
thing.
you look at Nico, he was well put together and all that. But that's because of the harmony that we both had. It was a trip.
And that's
if
important.
Whoever's listening to this and you go to think about having children with people, you should consider those things,
The
those
purity.
genetics and how pure you
Yes.
you two are, because that spirit, the spiritualness of when that sperm, we're talking about sex now, that sperm and that egg unite, that's when that spark of life, your spirit leaves your body through your sperm and ignites with that egg, and that's where it begins. I literally felt my life force leave my body, when Nico and Antonio
Conceived.
were conceived.
Yeah.
It was a totally
You know what
different
the worst thing
orgasm.
is? People do. They have kids to try to fix their relationship.
Or to try to trap people.
Yeah.
Or they try to trap
100%.
No, you're right.
Those are the ones that
They
take
don't
half
let it
the shit.
happen beautifully like that.
No.
That harmonious
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah,
And then
right?
your offspring shows that.
Yeah, and then by the time they're here, they're like, wait a minute, what did I come into? I came in the middle of a war.
Right.
Yeah.
There's all
exactly.
this negativity
Exactly.
going on.
Yeah.
Like I'm born
Exactly.
into negativity.
That negative energy
and it
conception.
carries on in their life.
It does.
Yep.
It absolutely
So
does.
that's why you got all these, bastard children,
Yep.
single moms, single dads, all that type of stuff, because they were conceived in an unholy situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So speaking of kids, my wife had a child, which I swore I would never marry
But one
anybody.
kid, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Yeah, and so, but something was different with
Right.
her, and so Alana she was 3 or a little over 3 when we got married, and I became her father essentially.
Yeah, stepdaddy is cool, man.
But we don't even know. I'm like her father. Like,
get that.
Like she doesn't. We don't call stepdad or any of that.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, whatever.
Yeah,
Daddy
yeah.
is cool.
Yeah.
My mother.
Taking that
My
role.
mother had me when she was 15.
Oh wow.
You know what I'm saying? So and my biological father was not her boyfriend. They just had sex one time. Wow. And I'm here. So at 14, what's my options? How am I even here? You know what I'm saying?
Shit.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother
exactly.
thing that goes
So my daddy, my father that I know,
Yeah.
that came into my life when I was like 2 or 3, basically, took the job. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You know what I mean? So
yes.
stepdaddy is cool.
That's really, I mean, it becomes a thing where it's like the person who
who gave you your
Who gave
biology,
you- right.
your genetics, which
genetics.
I was so grateful for that, right? So when my biological father passed away,
Okay.
and his dying wish was to meet all his kids, right?
All his kids.
all his kids, and so I'm
Damn, how many
talking.
kids do you have?
I mean, I don't want to like, he's
just-
gone, but,
that
but
a
put
job?
it this way: I have a brother that's the same age as me,
Mm-hmm.
born 31 days, 45 days before me. His birthday is March 31st. My sister's birthday is July 11th.
Just different moms though.
Yeah, different.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah. I hear you.
So, but think about it now. Think about it. My brother was born May 31st, 1966. My sister's born July 11th, 1966. I'm born August 30th, 1966.
Oh,
You feel me?
I see the
all,
pattern.
all
Yeah.
three,
I see
all
the
three of
pattern.
them, they were all best friends.
Oh, were they? Oh, okay.
Wow.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
So Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Oh
He
shit.
rolled right through them.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
indeed.
the point I'm trying to make is, and so when I talked to him on his deathbed, and I had only seen him like once or twice in my life, and when he basically tried to apologize for not being there, you know what I'm saying? And I let him talk, but I was like, I'm thank you, you know what I'm saying? Because I knew the story by the time I talked to him. I didn't know the story before. I didn't say, well, what happened? Why'd you leave
Why'd
me?
you leave
And
me?
all that stuff. Because I'm
Am I
like,
not
well,
good enough?
because
Yeah.
I'm 17 and I got 3 girls pregnant at the same time, maybe more than that, but the 3
That
you
he
know what I'm
knows.
saying?
Yeah, that he knows.
And I'm like, wait a minute, if I got 3 girls pregnant at the same time when I was 17, what would I have done?
Probably done the same damn
You know what I'm
thing.
saying? So I couldn't judge him at all.
Because he doesn't know. At
So
17, you don't know
I was
shit.
like, thank you for the awesome genetics. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Thank you for all that. I said, but I'm kind of glad that it turned out this way. I'm really super glad that it turned out this way because I got 2. You know what I'm saying? I
Sure.
got because my dad, he's 5'7". I'm 6'2".
Really?
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he wouldn't have,
Not that that matters, but I'm saying the
been
spirit,
different.
the energy and the spirit that he bestowed upon me. He's a pastor. He's an
Yeah.
incredible person. Like
This is your dad or your
my stepfather. My stepfather.
Yeah.
My dad. You know,
But
Right,
actually
right, yeah,
your dad.
yeah,
the only
your
father
dad.
that I know.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Right.
I wanted to be him. I wanted to be like him. I wanted to, all that. And that's why I say stepdad is cool.
Yeah.
Because, you're someone's seed, right? And we talk about seeds all the
Right,
time.
yeah.
Right? But he planted the seed and he stepped.
Yeah.
He planted it in fertile soil, though. Somebody else came and tended to it, the time part.
Right.
And this is the harvest. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
why the seeds that you plant, you might not harvest that seed. That might be somebody else's harvest. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And that's
for
why
sure.
it's so beautiful to have that mentality because you never know what's going to come out on the other end. If you focus on what's going to come out on the other end, you'll never, ever see it. You'll
That's
never
right.
receive the blessing. You'll never, you know what I'm saying?
And it could be right in front of you.
It
That's
is
the
right
thing.
in front of
Right.
you.
The blessing could be right
It is
there.
right in front of you.
Right.
And that really is the definition of life.
Everything
I mean,
in
that's-
this existence
yeah.
comes from a seed.
right.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
definition
yeah,
of life.
absolutely. You're right.
Everything.
So, yeah.
So, but to be clear, her biological father is in her life. So
awesome.
at this point he is. So yeah, it's fine. Like
They usually
it's-
always come back around. As a dad, as a father, I got Antonio and Nico. I don't have any other children that I know of or don't know of. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
So, because of the way that my father was, I tried to be the opposite of that. I really should have 25 children.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm
the
surprised
dancing,
you
the
don't.
bodybuilding, all
Like
that
you
type
said,
of stuff.
that you know of and you don't know of.
No, because I'm the type of dude that if any chick, if I had a guy, they would have been like, "This your baby," you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
On your,
Of
on your
course.
Instagram.
I was,
This is your baby, goddammit.
dude. I was Captain Condom. You better Houdini
Like
up in
one of
this
my
mother-
sponsors.
You know what I'm saying? Houdini up in this
Wrap
motherfucker,
that shit.
But what I'm trying to tell you is like, that's why now I totally embrace the seed mentality. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know.
That's all
You just never know.
It's all about quality, man. The quantity doesn't mean shit.
No.
That's right.
Quantity
You're
is-
absolutely
The quantity part is so easy. You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, it's especially
Oh, man,
now.
especially now. I mean,
Think about it, like back. Sometimes. Do you guys ever do this? Do you guys ever go back like to high school and go, if there was a fucking Tinder when I was in high school or
You
Facebook
couldn't even have social
or
media.
Dude, I don't even need that.
I'd be buried.
If there was just the internet.
Yeah, I'd be buried.
I would email shit. Like,
Yeah.
What's up, girl? What you doing? Email me back. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is that like
You can
I
date.
can't even
you can-
imagine.
You can date women in other countries that you never seen in your life.
I know. I have
You
friends
can
that
have
have
full
like girlfriends
relationship
in different countries all
that
over.
you never
and
met.
they go visit.
Oh my
It's insane.
What the fuck is going? Yeah, I mean,
and they bitch at you like they're your woman and they live in the States. It's like hilarious.
you don't ever take me out like you live in Australia. I'm in Atlanta.
How come you
What
never?
are you talking
How
about?
come you never message
Yeah,
me?
like,
Huh?
What? Oh
we're in
my-
different time zones.
Right.
My message comes. I message you on Tuesday. You get it on Wednesday. Like, what the-
Oh,
I
man.
just sometimes think about that, and I'm like, oh my god, that might have been a good thing though, because for some
No,
of
might
us,
have been.
It would have been.
for some of us, man,
It was
would
for
have been.
definitely better for me.
I might have had to change my name and move somewhere else.
Oh shit!
For a while, just kind of.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, that's crazy. But I've learned this though for sure. Quality is what matters.
Oh,
like the
it does.
quantity thing doesn't mean shit. Man.
Well, think about it right now. How much genuine, real shit exists
That's a great
nowadays?
question, actually.
Zero.
Everything is a copy of a replica of a copy of a copy of a replica.
Right. That's true.
There's no hardly any original nothing anymore.
Everybody copies each other.
Right.
But I'm saying even the originals are copies of a replica.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's
And
a
where
picture of a
it's
picture.
like, and a lot of it stems from, you can grow rich. If you're talking about,
I'm just
disease
saying
and things.
everything in our modern lives, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all duplicated stuff. We don't never get to see the original nothing.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like people who have like original this or heirloom this, I mean, they don't hardly exist. I mean, it does exist, but it's
Yeah.
in
It's so
museums and
rare.
shit.
Yeah, it's so rare.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's rare. Like genuine people, just rare. It's a rare thing.
No, I agree. Totally agree.
So you're married now. You're happy. Everything's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yes.
This would be interesting because I know. So you were addicted to drugs, right? So all these different kinds of drugs, like you name it, right? And then you started a business doing that too, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the really interesting part. It's always
Sure.
like there's a lot of people that get addicted, and that's as far as they go. They try to find help and that's their battle.
Right.
But you were not only the connoisseur of the products, but you were also
I had to make the money to support it.
right. Okay, so
I mean,
So
that was my view
Or
on it.
procure.
yeah, I had to stock my obsession. Right. So when that happened, how did that happen? Like, how did that come about? Like,
So that was it's actually a good question. I'm glad you asked me that. So I had dealt with drugs periodically, but in this specific time, the guy that I was buying my coke from came to me and he said, "Hey, I'm moving to DC, and I've got to have somebody take over my business." And I said, "Well," he says, "between you and another guy, but I came to you first." And so I said, "Give me 24 hours to think about it." And so, because I really did need to think, I had a roommate, I had to talk to that motherfucker, make sure he was going to be cool, make sure, everything was
don't
going
pay
to be good.
attention to the bricks of
Right.
cocaine in the living room.
This your shit over.
I'm like,
Right.
I'm moving this shit.
Right. Oh my God. And this actually leads to a couple of different deaths too. I'm glad you asked. So he and I took on the business from the guy. He showed me everything. He introduced me to his guy, blah, 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 whatever, showed me where his little stash house was, everything. And so it was really like you said, turnkey. But fast forward a little bit, my roommate who got in with me, sort of, he wound up moving to the beach, and I fronted him, I don't know, it was maybe an ounce, 2 ounces. And what I think happened is, I think that he either sold it or he did it. My guess is he did it. And he wound up blowing his fucking brains out.
Oh.
Yep. And the crazy part is he blew his brains out with the gun that my other buddy sold him. My other buddy blew his damn brains out for the same reason.
So the moral story
Wait,
is
the other dude blew his brains out because his other dude blew his brains out?
No.
it's the same gun.
I know it's the same gun.
Not the same,
Well, no, not even
not the same gun. But so cocaine. But cocaine was
cocaine.
the originally
Okay.
the reason why they both
Okay.
blew their brains out, and they were both my best friends at the time. It was insane.
Lesson.
Don't do cocaine.
No,
Exactly.
no, because real cocaine don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like all this testosterone stuff.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying it doesn't do that.
Okay.
So obviously,
Well,
you know,
yeah.
the stuff that you put in
Don't
your
do
body.
fake cocaine.
Well, no, I'm just saying the
God
stuff you
damn
put
it,
in your
you
body.
motherfucker.
Get the pure shit.
Yeah.
Do real cocaine.
Well, so
Don't do
they-
that fake
I'm
shit.
just saying the real
But I
stuff
think-
don't do that to you.
But I think he owed me so much money
Okay.
that he just decided that he'd already done this once and left me with nothing.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
so I had we had become friends again. I trusted him again, and he did it again.
back on.
And I honestly think that's what happened. And the bitch was, I had $30,000 worth of jewelry locked up in his damn apartment. And do you think that shit was there when I got there? No.
Of course not.
Of course not. So
Wow.
Well, shit. That
learned.
took a left turn. So let's try to get back up. Let's try to.
Hey, sex driven.
Let's talk about some sex again.
No. Well, what I want you to speak on is how did you go from alcoholic, drug addict, sober? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, in other words, you told us the process and the timelines.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, what clicked in your mind
yep.
to where you would have the strength to? Because my thing, I have prayed for God to take away the appetites for the things that I. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't know if
So-
anybody
so-
else did that.
Yeah, so I
don't know
went
if
to
anybody else
AA.
did that, but-
So I went to AA,
Oh, okay.
and it's
Traditional.
traditional AA,
Okay.
and then, but this is so this is where it does take a turn. Once July 2018 came around, I realized that if I'm standing up every day or whenever I go to these meetings and say I am, two most powerful words in the whole English language, an alcoholic,
Okay.
I'm reinforcing my brain that I'm fucked up.
Right,
And
with
that
the
thing,
AA situation.
yes.
Yes.
And so that things, and I'm broken, and in AA, you know, it had its place in my life, and I will give it credit. However,
You graduated.
I did,
Yeah.
and so my mindset changed,
Right.
and that's what really has changed my life, to be honest with you.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up on that.
Beautiful.
But
Yeah.
everything that we do, failure or success, starts in your mind.
Yeah.
Starts with a mindset.
It does.
So in order to achieve a goal, you get that mindset. In order to go out and be fucking drink whatever.
Right.
That's your mindset.
Right.
So in other words, we wrapping up this little talk. We appreciate you coming out, Corey.
Yes.
And you know, Paz, you got any closing remarks?
Moral of the story is,
Moral of the story is right.
Is do real cocaine. You're gonna do it. Don't fuck with the fake shit.
Don't fuck with the fake shit.
No, man, it's awesome having you, brother.
Yeah,
Definitely got to
absolutely.
come back.
For sure.
Till next time.